of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
Or should we call this Documentary City Straight Talk? Because now the word is that they may do a documentary on the infamous gun lack of dashboard incident or whatever we want to call that. So. Again, we make the news in a negative connotation.
Of course.
So, you know,
what
Mark Wahlberg's going to come down and do a documentary, or one of his crew, I guess, about Fall River and more of its insanity. That this place is like an alternate universe. I think that you actually need a passport to get in here if you're from out of town. So
you need a visa as well.
Yeah, an interstellar visa. You know, you got to be on a Starship Enterprise to show up. Well, I guess we can talk about the circus later, but we got some St. Anne's. What can we do? What we can do now is strengthen the churches that remain. It's a shame. What a beautiful building. An absolutely gorgeous. You know, in Europe, you can walk around virtually any major city in Europe and see these tremendous cathedrals that were built, and they are great for visitors and things, but of course they don't keep up anything. The upkeep, they can't afford it, and they don't care. It's all about money here. You know, we lost Notre Dame to a fire, but that is a gorgeous church. It's really a beautiful building, just like the old Durfee High School was, and they said it was beyond repair. But you go down there now, they put the money into it. So it's really a shame that these things happen to these buildings. We've got this Historical Preservation Society that wants to preserve, you know, some kind of three-decker in the middle of a neighborhood, and we're going to give them money to paint the houses under the CPA. But when we get something like this and nobody keeps it, it's really a tragedy for the community, because it's a gorgeous building. It's a shame to see that kind of architecture just, you know, get bulldozed at some point in time.
The CPA said that because it was an active church, they couldn't give them any money.
Well, I understand the CPA's issue, but you know, like I said, everybody's so worried about this stuff, and another church. Let's strengthen the churches that remain. You know, it's a shame, because that church fell into disrepair, just like every other building, it seems, in this city. Because, look, I went to that church literally hundreds and hundreds of times for alarms and for runs and for funeral services. And, of course, when we had the Firefighters Memorial Sunday, we always had the Mass at St. Anne's Church, because it's directly across from the memorial.
Right.
So, you know, I've been in that church an awful lot, and it's a tragedy. You know, it seems that we can't keep anything that's good in this city.
Yeah, that's true. Well, on the bright side, for the lack of a better expression, about St. Anne's, the St. Anne's Food Pantry is going to stay open on Saturdays from 9 to 12, 9:30 to 12. So on Saturdays, you'll still be able to go there, and I guess it's downstairs in the shrine portion of the church. And they will continue to be open for a while, I guess, until they decide what they're going to do with the church. But, you know, I can see that church becoming a parking lot.
Yeah, and it's a shame, because, as I said, we had some of the most beautiful buildings, you know, in New England, as far as I'm concerned. You know, Notre Dame Church was a tremendous piece of architecture, as is St. Anne's, and of course the the former Durfee High School building, not the tech building, the other building. That I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe when I went there, they said it was actually architecturally patented after the City Hall of Paris, and you you know, it's still a gorgeous building. You go into that, it's a courthouse now, but if you go into that building, I mean, you look at it, the outside, it's really an amazing piece of architecture, and it's just a shame. It's just a shame that we lose all the good things and we keep all the bad.
Well, you know, the Immaculate Conception Church in the Flint, it's been sold. They're going to put 13 or 23 houses on the land. That church was built like St. Anne's was by the parishioners, taking nickels and dimes out of their pocket, which back 100 years ago was a lot of money.
Yeah, and as I said, you know, those things, of course, you know, Immaculate Conception's a brick church. It doesn't have the architectural, pizzazz of these other churches. But as you said, that's the other thing about these churches. Many of these churches, including St. Anne's, parishioners paid for much of the art, did a lot of the work, did a lot of the masonry work. And, you know, this was built on the sweat equity and the backs of the people that worked for fundamentally peanuts at the time. They gave their nickels and dimes because they all worked in the mills or worked
for nickels and dimes.
For nickels and dimes and pennies.
Yeah.
And yet, you know, and this is the way, the people, you know, this is a monument to the people of Fall River that worked there and put into that. And if anything should have been a priority, it should be to retain buildings like this. And it's a sad commentary on what's happened here. So, but it is what it is. And unfortunately, we continue with the sagas of documentaries about cars without dashboards and guns without bullets.
Well, it's interesting because Deb Allard did a column for the Herald, and she actually asked the bishop some questions. And one of the questions she asked, which a lot of people keep saying, I don't know why the diocese can't put the money up. The bishop said it. The diocese has spent no money on any church in the diocese. The churches are required to be self-sufficient. The diocese gives them loans to help them over tough times. But the church must be self-sufficient. They have to pay their own utilities, their own insurance, their own, water, their own electricity, gas, all of that.
Yeah, but the bishop gets his car and his house.
Right.
Right? Yeah, and they don't have to pay taxes, right?
Right.
But yeah, the hell with the people. Who cares about the parishioners?
But that's granted, that was made.
But granted, look, the parishes are shrinking with all the issues the Catholic Church has had. And it's a hard thing to do, but if you're going to save anything, look, let's give up the Cadillac you're driving and, and the mansion you're living in and not paying taxes on, and put a little bit of money back to the people that who built that church with their. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen. So, it's just like everything else, uncertain. Next segue, uncertain future for Riverview Towers.
Yeah, remember Alan Sylvia, we're going to keep you in this. Remember,
we're going to keep you in.
Remember the mail, we're going to keep you in this property.
The checks in the mail.
Yeah, the checks
in the mail, and we're going to keep you here.
Yeah.
But we'll put somebody on the RDA board. We'll go up there and advocate for one of the Jazel's people to get on the board. So, the residents of Riverview, again, the expendables. We've talked about this before. Who are they? The people in Fall River that don't have a lot of money. They don't care about how, if you lose your house, they don't care what you're making. It's just like, forget about it. I'll wear my $600 loafers, and I will, if you don't like it, as our superintendent of schools said with the debt override, you don't like it, move to Russia.
Yeah. So, well, for Riverview Towers, I mean, the new purchaser, his name is Ed Juki of Leominster. Or Leominster.
Leominster, yeah, Leominster. I'm pretty familiar with the town. I know the president.
He purchased the 200-unit apartment tower for $16.1 million, and it had state subsidy. 90 units was state subsidized. Without the assistance from the state on the mortgage and operating costs, Riverview Towers will not be able to afford to continue renting apartments for $800, Juki said. If the DHCD ends the program for residents receiving state subsidies, Juki will be able to raise the rent by 5% a year for 3 years, and then will be free to set the rent to market rate. Here we go, market rate housing again.
Yeah, again, that's all we ever have. And by the way, Leominster is a very, very affluent, anti-poor people community that's outside of Worcester, and all the rich businessmen in Worcester. A lot of them live in Leominster in that area because it's a rich little enclave that they they fly out of the city and away from the poor in the evening.
Well, Juki says that he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to throw the people out.
Yeah, but you know, I know, but they're holding a gun to my head, and I'll just have to collect higher rents.
But of
it's
course,
gonna be it's a dirty job. Yeah. But somebody's got to do it. Forgive me if I'm a little skeptical about his sincerity with that that particular.
You know, he
comment.
says that I want Fall River to know it is the state, not me. I want the tenants to stay. Now, our favorite people in the whole world, Rep. Allen Sylvia and Senator Michael Rodrigues, have been following the issue. Sylvia said the previous bidder, Weston Associates of Boston, also complained that the DHCD was unwilling to discuss continued support for tenants at Riverview Towers. The whole idea is to keep the residents there, to allow them to continue residing at Riverview Towers, Sylvia said. Right now, we don't know where we stand. We have to see.
We don't know. I guess you didn't read the article.
Right.
We don't know where we stand. And of course, what are the politicians doing now? They're playing the blame game. It's everybody else's fault.
It's DHCD's fault now.
It's the state, it's this, it's that. It's got nothing to do with us. Don't remember, people, we're working. We made you a promise that we didn't keep, but who cares?
Now, according to DHCD, the reason why they don't have the money to subsidize this building is the U.S. Congress 3 years ago cut back the money available to state housing agencies to support subsidized housing. When that happened, DHCD leaders looked at all housing complexes it supported in the state and came up with a figure for support it could provide. For Riverview Towers, that is $6 million if the owner agrees to a deed restriction promising the current subsidized apartments will remain devoted to low-income residents, according to Paul Marrow, Director of Communication and Policy for Mass Housing. DHCD alternately would provide $3 million in assistance if the owner agrees to deed restrictions, making 20% of the units open to low-income residents. We are trying to protect the tenants and, at the same time, make improvements to the property, McMurrow said. That is not enough, Juki said. The money if offered would only cover required improvements to the property. It would not help cover the operating costs for the complex, he said. They keep coming up with plans that don't help me, he said.
Well, there you go. There's the key word. Here's the guy that cares so much he really doesn't want to do it, but it doesn't help him. So what's his bottom line? Money. He's not going to make enough money with what they're proposing, so it doesn't work for him. It's not right for him. So pay attention to what you read when you read these articles. Listen. Read the entire article in its full context and look at the contradictions from our state representatives who made promises they didn't keep to this guy who says he really doesn't want to do it, but then he says, well, they've made me some offers, but it's not right for me. So are the tenants really a priority for you? Horse manure.
Yeah.
You know, it's absolute horse manure. Again, it's screw the poor people again. You know, as usual, you know, all they are is cannon fodder. Shove them down a barrel and just let them go. And I don't care because it's just not right for me. Because what am I interested in? Going back to Leominster, and I wonder how much his house is worth.
Yeah, really.
In Leominster. So,
really.
But look, it is what it is. So let's get to a topic I'm really chomping at the bit. That lynching that they called an RDA meeting. That prefabricated bunch of manure that was disguised as a meeting to get political retribution. And as we said on Monday's show, look, we're not huge fans, and we don't agree, and nobody agrees with us all the time. Most people don't agree with us anytime, but the reality is, we've disagreed with a lot of things Fro-Ed did, or whatever name you want to call them, Bristol County, whatever new, you know, euphemism but we have disagreed with many things they've done. But they've done some things we do agree with. But that doesn't change the fact that any individual who's accused of something, especially something that is, you know, it borders very closely on being malfeasant, and being criminal, deserves their day in court. They have a right to face their accusers. They have a right to answer questions. They have a right to present their side of a story. You know, I see all the zombies running around, you know, with signs and screaming and badgering and bullying people and saying, stop picking on my mayor. My mayor is innocent. He's innocent until proven guilty, and nobody said he isn't. However, can you do the job when you're always in the news? Now this gets pulled, and now we have allegations, and at this point in time, they're only allegations, that the mayor met with virtually every member of that board. We know about the contracts. They just happen to have Ken Fiola's contract.
Here's some information.
Do we always walk around with people's contracts?
Currently, the mayor is live on Facebook.
Yeah.
I guess he must be doing that for Fall River Reporter, which is an online news.
Denying everything.
He said the mayor just told everyone Michelle never had Ken's contract. Michelle Dion never had Ken's contract. He said they never fired Ken, and they had the right to do what they did, and they were not out of the agenda because a lot of people are filing complaints because it wasn't on the agenda.
Yeah.
So this is going to be very interesting to see.
Well, look, again, nobody's ever accused him of not being able to make up stuff. That's why he gets along so good with his city administrator. Because at that meeting, his city administrator started talking about audits, and you and I were discussing it. I have the law right here. It is Chapter 44, Sections 35. 36 actually goes on to talk about the repeal of part of Section 35 earlier. It's actually, and I have it right here, the text of the initial Section 35 was effective until November 7th, 2016. And they passed a new a revision of that law that just became effective. And technically, the audit isn't due until the end of this fiscal year.
Correct.
And even then, Ken Fiola, and we have the audio, but it's too long to really run. But he said that they gave the city money to do the audit. You know, we can go on and read the law, but I'm not going to read the law to you.
It's called the Community Cities Municipalities Modernization Act.
Yeah, but you can look it up. It's Chapter 44, but it's kind of confusing to people who don't read a lot of laws because it shows it's in bits and pieces. It shows the actual law before what section was going to be repealed, and it was only good until 16. Then it shows the other section. Then in 36 it goes on. There's a lot of, but basically what it says is, you know, they have a right to do an audit. But the fact is, supposedly Kathy Ann was talking about audits not being done for years and stuff when they had no requirement to do such audits. And supposedly, according to Ken Fiola, and he said we'll prove it, that they gave the city money to do any audit that was necessary. And I'm sure with Ken Fiola being an attorney, he's not going to go and say he has evidence that he doesn't have. So if anything, if I'm going to have to, and believe me, I'm not saying this is gospel, but guess what? If I'm going to pick who's being accurate with their statements, I'm going with Ken, because I remember Kathy Ann standing in front of the city council and saying that the money we got in '91 when the city stole almost $2 million of our money and put it in their account, and I say stole, they said they just made a mistake and put our money in their account and forgot it, and then did it again in '08, and then had 5 accounts that were dormant for 25 years. I remember Kathy Ann going in front of the council and flat out, either she was, you can say either she was lying or she's so incompetent at her job she was talking about things she doesn't know. Didn't we just hear that at a recent council meeting when she was taken to task for not giving accurate information about cameras?
Yes.
And what did she say? Well, from now on, Counselor, if I don't know the answer, I won't give it to you. Well, Kathy Ann, if you don't know the answer, you shouldn't give it. Because that's the first thing I learned when I became a president of the union. My mentor, Dusty Allwood, who was the state president, and one of the best union guys I ever told, said, if you don't know the answer to a question, tell them I don't know. I will check, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Do not make up stuff. So, because you're either, there's only one or two scenarios when those things happen. You're either lying or you're so incompetent that you don't belong in that job. And I'm going with both A and B. I'm going with C when it comes to her.
All of the above.
I'm going with option C, which is A and B.
All of the above.
Because she said that was the employees' trust fund was too large and we were paying it down by giving the employees. That was an absolute falsehood, and I provided documentation to the city council. I still have all the exact words in that arbitration that a court stenographer took under oath. I have the arbitration. The city was paying back the money in increments to us for taking almost $2 million that was ours. And has it stopped? Because I know Kathy Ann will say, oh, that was 91. I wasn't the city administrator. You're right. But you were the city administrator 2 years ago when $44,000 went missing that employees paid their health care with, and it ended up in a city account. How it did, I don't know, because statutorily, it's a requirement that employee health care money go directly into a segregated employee trust fund. That's what Chapter 32B says. Somehow, $44,000 got into the city account. They found it. And I still have the letter, by the way, and I'll give it to Ken if he wants it. I requested that I be informed as the PEC rep to the IC for the retirees that they give me a full accounting of when that money was taken in, what accounts it migrated through until it was ultimately discovered. I'm still waiting for an answer. It's about, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years. I'll have to look at the date on the letter because I have the letter. But I still haven't received an answer. So, you know, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Because the reality is this city can't find any of their money. They never do audits. In 91, they testified. Bruce Haig testified under oath that they did not do an audit on the healthcare system, which, by the way, isn't recent like this new law. It has been there for years, 50, 60 years it's been in there. Mandates an annual audit of the city's health care funds. And he even admitted under oath it wasn't an actual audit, it was a recreation and a reconciliation because they didn't have enough records to do an accurate audit. So the city wants to crucify somebody who, by the way, they made sure he wasn't there and they didn't connect with him on a phone, so it's wrong. Like I said, I'm not a fan of a lot of things that they've done, but I am a fan of standing up and if you get accused of something, you should have the right to defend yourself. And that's the reality, because, you know, I've been accused of a lot of things in my life. But, you know, I went before the Board of Fire Commissioners. I've gone before, and, you know, I've had my day in court. I've pleaded my case. And if I've got a bone to pick with somebody else, I'll give them every right to challenge, you know, my information. When I went up there and corrected all the misrepresentations Kathy made about the healthcare system and how that funding was created, she didn't come back up and rebut me because everything I said was true. But she's still in that job.
Right.
She's still in that job. How many years has she given the city council misinformation, half-truths, and out-and-out lies?
Since the Flanagan administration.
So, but she's still there, and she got a raise because she does such a good job.
Well, the mayor's doing the boo-hoo right now on Facebook Live.
Oh, poor me.
And he said that the city has been better since a decade, and people are mad because they aren't getting their way. And people need to stop it. It affects my job. And I ain't going out nowhere, anywhere. Because this matter has nothing to do with the city. It has to do with the business I put together.
Wow. Wow. Isn't that a classic case for all you who took general psychology of projection?
Right.
He's projecting onto everybody else his thing. You want to read that quickly again to me again so I can I can just get that because I've already.
Oh my God, he said this city has been better since a decade, and people are mad because we ain't getting our way.
Oh, wait a minute. There's your projection. It's him that's mad that he's not getting his way.
Right.
And then he said he can't do his, it's affecting
And
him.
people need to stop it. It affects my job.
Wait a minute. Didn't he say right at the beginning when he came out of the courthouse going like this? Oh, wait a minute, but I wasn't making fun of it. I was just nervous. Didn't he say, I can do my job?
Yep.
Well, well, make up your mind, Jays. Come on, buddy. You're flip-flopping like a schizophrenic here. What are you? Are you manic? Or are you depressive right now?
Flip-flopping like a fish out of water is more like it.
And come on, stop. You're the guy that's always complaining. We're not complaining. We just say, hey, get a recall, let the people speak. That's another thing you flip-flopped on. Oh, I'll sign a petition. The people have a right to speak. But wait a minute. Don't sign the petition.
Right.
So, listen, if you try to con everybody that this is people not getting their way, we're not getting anything. I'm not getting my way. I can't remember the last time I ever had a year I didn't have taxes and fees go up.
That's right.
And I've been paying property taxes in this city for a very long time. The citizens and the taxpayers of this city haven't gotten their way in a long time. Since we began to elect millennials into these jobs, we can't get anything because all they know how to do is spend money. They don't know how to earn it.
Yeah.
And again, it's about, oh, this has got nothing to do with me being his mayor. Well, what are you talking about your thing as mayor for then? Just keep your mouth shut. You're, again, so all the zombies will nod their heads and go, that's right, you guys are picking on him. It's you're terrible people. And remember, I was the one in front of the TV throwing tomatoes at Kavanaugh, and now we can eviscerate Ken Fiola, but that's okay.
That's right, because he's not innocent until proven guilty.
Nobody's innocent until proven guilty. They don't like, but you can't use the defense that was used in the Nuremberg trials. The Nuremberg defense doesn't work, guys. It didn't work in 45, 46, 47, as long as the trials lasted. And even today, when they find a war criminal, the stuff that, I was just doing what I was told. I was just following orders. It doesn't work. There are certain things that rise to the level of, they're indefensible. And guess what? Go on Facebook to your homespun audience, just like you had the RDA meeting stacked with your zombies to cheer and jeer and respond on cue and not deal with issues. And I look forward to a complete airing. And if they're right, we'll say they're right. But if Ken's right, he'll be right. But like I said, based on past performances, it's like a horse race. If you got Seabiscuit running in a race and you bet on a horse that's never won a race, you're not being too. But if I'm looking at who's being more accurate with their statements about what's going on, and I'm looking at Kathy Ann Viveris and the people on the board who are all political appointees, and someone who's an attorney and has been doing that job for a long time, and by the way, has been under scrutiny many times, and he still kept his job. So my money's, as I said, I'm a betting guy, and my money's on Ken.
I bet it is, that's for sure. Well, we're going to be off the air on Friday. I hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy yourself. Stuff yourself with all that turkey.
Don't eat too much of the bird.
Enjoy the desserts. I think that's the best part of Thanksgiving dinner. Hey, everybody, stay angry and have a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
And remember, Jazel made us do it.